Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the 3 Substack newsletters, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump and America, and Ask the Astrologer. Today I am going to explore the possibility that Donald Trump may be experiencing some jail time from the sentencing by Judge Merchan on September the 18th, 2024. You may already know that Trump has begun the process of challenging that date and requesting that the judge move it until after the election. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he's able to pull that off. I highly think he won't be able to, but anything is possible. And what I'm hoping to do here in this particular video, I've got, I think, 3 graphical images here, is to try to explain the territory around Donald Trump energetically. And if you pay attention to what I'm showing you here, you may learn some things about astrology and how it can reveal, not only in Donald Trump's situation, but also in your own personal situation, the conditions under which you find yourself. That is the goal of all astrologers, really, is to be able to have enough skill to be able to see in the chart all of the factors that are going on in a person's life and to make as accurate as possible a determination of what may occur. All right. And in case you're wanting to know, it is quite a daunting task to be able to do that. It takes considerable sensitivity, considerable time, considerable awareness, okay, to be able to absorb what you're looking at, what your mind is taking in, and then to consciously kind of put together the recipe of what it is that you want to share with a client or that you want to share with the public, you know, on like a YouTube channel. So I'm going to be targeting here September the 18th, 2024. You can see all these little red arrows here. Actually, I have these arrows here probably more for my benefit than yours. It's because at 73 years old, if you haven't noticed, my ability to communicate has changed a little since, let's say, 8 years ago. And I know that it's age related, and I have to learn to adapt to that sometimes. And there's times when I'm reading the information that I'm showing you here, and all of a sudden my mind will go a little bit blank, and it's very unnerving and embarrassing, but it's a part of the process of being 73 years old, and I have to learn to adapt to that. But I want to show you here what the aspects are by transit on that date in Donald Trump's chart, and to bring to your attention things which I feel are significant and may have a factor in how things end up for him regarding the September the 18th situation of being sentenced. The first thing I'm going to point out here, which you've heard me talk about this many times, is that Uranus squaring his natal Mars. The reason why this is so important is because Mars rules Donald Trump's 9th house, which has to do with the legal, situation that we're talking about. Uranus rules the 6th and the 7th. All right. The 7th being others. Okay. The 6th being his health. One of the things that I kind of have to juggle here when I'm talking about what could happen with Donald Trump has to do with the possibility of a health issue that could confine him, or a circumstance where he is incarcerated because he broke the law, he's been convicted, and the judge decides to go ahead and do that. And from what I've been gleaming from the internet and reading certain articles by lawyers and stuff like that, it's kind of a situation that he will try to do everything he can to stall the sentencing. And he's quite gifted at getting people to legally do things for him that postpone the inevitability of what is bound to occur. Ultimately, legally or medically, Donald Trump is going to succumb to his age, to the decline in his health, to a circumstance right now in which he finds his candidacy, his political aspirations very much in disarray. It's very difficult to know what the balance is here between Donald Trump's guiding his own campaign, which many feel that he is, and those that are backing him, like Elon Musk, with all the money. Okay, and not only just Elon Musk, there are others as well that probably haven't gotten into the news. Musk doesn't care because he's worth about $217 billion, so he could care less whether you and I like him or not. But there are many things going on here. Mainly the Uranus squaring the Mars. It has gone retrograde, and right now it is stationary direct. When planets are stationary, okay, or stationary, they slow down, or they appear to slow down. This is when the energy of the particular planet begins to get stronger. The effect of it becomes more noticeable. The other thing here, though, that I found out when I was doing this chart, and I mentioned this before, I think, in another video I did, is that on this particular day, you can see that Mars is conjuncting Donald Trump's Mercury in Cancer, the water sign, emotions. Okay? If, in fact, this particular day, he is brought before the judge to be sentenced, he's not going to be probably not only very happy, but he'll probably be very visibly irritated. Okay? You remember that the assassination attempt on him happened when Uranus and Mars were conjunct by transit, and that Mars squared this Mars down here. So Mars is an indication for Trump of action, of force, okay, maybe of enemies and things of this particular nature. So we want to kind of keep an eye on this. There are several key points that I'll bring out, I think, in this video. I know that there are others that believe there will be 2 more attempts on him, and I would agree that it looks like this could be. All right. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. All right. Now, Donald Trump's state of mind. Maybe you have wondered why, or astrologically, how do you see what's going on with him? Okay. Why is he kind of just stumbling his way into interviews and to having these meetings and stuff and just kind of rattling off mindlessly? Things that have nothing to do with his plan, all right, for his second term, but revenge, retribution, and things of this particular nature. Well, part of that, I feel, has to do with Neptune here. And I mentioned in the last video that Neptune had basically gone into his 8th house. Okay? Neptune is in a wide square to the sun in his horoscope right here. All right. Now, this has been going on for quite a while, this Neptune squaring his, his sun and his moon. So, to me, this is kind of an indication of why we see this erratic, mindless behavior of Donald Trump. Okay? It just simply is indicating a confused state of mind, or a state of mind that is influenced not based in reason, things of this nature. And then I'll be showing you a little bit further the progressed Uranus in his chart too, because Uranus and the moon in any combination creates a situation of emotional tension, of excitability, of irritability. And if you'll remember on one of my other videos, I had talked to you about that the U.S. is going to be experiencing Uranus squaring its moon in the chart of the USA, beginning probably, I think, in September through October. Okay, so it's very likely that something at that time is going to happen that is going to be big enough that it is going to create a tremendous amount of anxiety and tension and emotional angst, okay, amongst people. And it's hard to say what side, whether it would be the MAGA side or it would be the Democratic side. But I think, again, that we can expect things to be unexpected, all right, to shift on a dime, so to speak, and to definitely give us an adrenaline rush when we're moving towards the election, okay? So keep in mind, these are significant changes. If for no other reason in his behavior, Pluto is sitting down here waiting to go into his house of health, his house of service to others, okay? It too is stationary on this particular date. All right, so there's many things that are kind of indicating here the buildup of something significant happening in which it will impact Trump, it'll impact us, and we will just have to be strong enough to deal with whatever we see unfolding, okay? Over here, I highlighted these. One of the things that may be a deterrent to the sentencing of Donald Trump on this date, Jupiter is conjuncting his sun. You'll see up here, Jupiter is 2 degrees off of conjuncting his sun. It is conjuncting his north node, okay? This right here could be an indication, all right, that what most people would like to see happen to Donald Trump somehow can be postponed, somehow can be not happening, all right? Even with the severity of Uranus's impact here and several other things that I'll talk about. Uranus is conjuncting his midheaven, close to it. It is squaring his ascendant, okay? His ability to present himself in a relative normal way, which we know that's not going to happen, okay? Erratic behavior, nervousness, nervous tension. Transiting Saturn is squaring his moon. Okay, here, this transiting Saturn is squaring his moon. Okay, it's a wide, a wide square, but with Saturn, they have wide orbs. Okay, Saturn squaring his Uranus. This is already in effect in this month, August. And remember here that around, I think, the 13th, 14th, or 15th is when his progressed Venus is going to square his Saturn. Okay, so something big is going to come down in regards to Donald Trump this month. All right, and this is basically 30 days prior to him having to deal with the sentencing, if in fact it actually occurs. All right, so let's go ahead here, one other chart. All right, now this is his inner chart, okay, here on the inside. These are his transits, the ones that I just basically talked to you about, okay, and I won't go into any great detail here because that's what I did in the other chart, but I kind of like to show the wheels along with the aspectarian over here so you can kind of relate them both together. If you're not used to astrology, sometimes it's very difficult to understand what the astrologer is talking about unless you point out what it is and then how does this relate to what you're talking about. It's easier to show aspects over here, how they are relating. Okay, like for example, here's the transiting Saturn squaring Donald Trump's moon, which I basically talked about a little bit ago, Saturn squaring the Uranus. So these are things that can be helpful when you're working as an astrologer or learning astrology. And for those of you who may be interested in knowing, this program that I use, again, is the Janus 6.1 astrology program. One of the very finest astrology programs for anyone wanting to learn astrology or anybody that wants to be an astrologer. It is very, very comprehensive with a tremendous amount of information. Okay, so what does the secondary progress chart show you here? This is the secondary progress chart here. Okay, this is Donald Trump's natal chart right here. All right, what is significant here? For me, what is significant, if you look at the chart of Donald Trump, okay, I'm going to try, here we go. If you look at the secondary progress chart, this is the secondary progress chart all by itself, okay? It's not comparing to the natal chart. I'll be doing that here in a second. We see that Donald Trump's Neptune, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter are all in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house is important because the 12th house represents incarceration, also hospitalization, okay? So this could be an indication, a potential indication here, that at some point in the road down the future, that there could be some incarceration of some type or some hospitalization. One of the things that I just saw today that's important is September 2025. Okay, this is just about a year after the election, close to that, 9 months. Donald Trump's progressed ascendant is going to square his progressed Saturn. Okay, Saturn, of course, is one of the things that has to do with law, the legality of things. His progressed ascendant is in Scorpio, and I've mentioned this in many videos I've done, is that whenever your ascendant goes into Scorpio from Libra, okay, things really begin to heat up in your life. You know, you may have gone through 30 years if you were born with, you know, your ascendant on the 0 degree of Libra. Had a relatively easy ride for 30 years and then progressed ascendant goes into Scorpio, and boy, your whole life just heats up. All right, you begin to have experiences that you may think are unfortunate, but they can really bring some intense transformation into your life. Okay, and we can see here that with the progressed ascendant having gone into Scorpio and Donald Trump's progressed moon is going in there, it relates to all this drama that you see going on around him, all of the stuff going wrong, seemingly, okay, for him. And that as we look at his situation, you know, we want to kind of sit back and say, man, I don't know too many people that could go through all he's been through and still maintain any kind of sanity or any kind of health. So this is coming, okay? This progressed ascendant is already, I believe, less than a degree in its aspect to Saturn here. So there's a possibility it could influence some of the things that may happen down the road. Okay, I'm going to go back here now to this chart. This again is the secondary progress chart here on the outside, the one you just looked at, but it's compared to the natal chart here. And here again we see progressed planets that have gone into Donald Trump's 12th house. The house of hospitalization, a house of loss, a house of being taken out of the mainstream of life, okay? Either like hospitalization, incarceration, and things like this, okay? In another video I did, I mentioned to you that his progressed midheaven is going to conjunct, okay, his natal Pluto in the 12th house, midheaven, goals, aspirations, career, all right? Pluto, 12th house, drastic, severe changes in those aspirations. Saturn, the Saturn I just talked about, okay, is in the 12th house of his natal chart. It will be squared by his progressed ascendant. All right, so the thing you want to look for when you're talking about incarceration outside of just the 12th house would be Saturn, okay, because Saturn essentially means that you're in a situation where your freedoms are restricted. You have been judged by the law, and you're going to have to pay the price. All right. Now, one of the other things here that's significant for me is that his progressed Uranus is very close, within 17 minutes, of opposing his natal moon. And a little while ago, I had just mentioned the impact of Uranus and the moon. Whereas the moon likes to be peaceful, joyous, pleasant, things like that. You let something like Uranus get very close to it, okay, by a square, a conjunction, or an opposition, and unexpected events occur that emotionally destabilize your peace of mind. That's one way of looking at it. So his total mental state and his emotional state is influenced by the closeness of this opposition to his natal moon. All right. So upon that, Neptune going into his 8th house, all right, which has an effect upon his finances, an effect upon his emotional state, his emotional balance. All right. And you've got somebody who is behaving like Donald Trump is. Okay. We know, because this is the way life is, that ultimately Donald Trump cannot escape what's coming. Sooner or later, death's going to come. But before that comes, he may see some jail time, or he might end up being hospitalized because of his health. These things will just have to bear themselves out, over time. And again, this is that chart. This is the secondary progressed chart itself, with the planets in the 12th house and the progressed ascendant coming into an orb of squaring his natal Saturn. So again, it would be nice to be able to tell you, yeah, Donald Trump's going to jail. There is uncertainty, unfortunately, at the moment, whether or not on the 18th that he will be sentenced. I believe that with the way things are going, if the Supreme Court doesn't come in and muddle things up, that he's going to have to face Judge Merchant on the 18th. Okay? And with what he's doing and the way that Judge Merchant had handled that case, it would not surprise me if he wants to put Donald Trump behind bars. I think it would probably be a great idea. But we know that there is tremendous pressure and fear amongst those in the administration that if they do something like that to Trump, that whatever sides of the faction that he has, the MAGAs, the white supremacists, okay, the unbalanced humans that are a part of a lot of the MAGA nation, okay, that they could create some civil unrest, much like we saw back in the 60s, So they have to weigh that, is it worth doing it? Is it worth putting him in jail? Okay. Again, personally, I think it's probably the best thing they could do. It would be probably one way of really putting the brakes on the MAGA movement. Okay. Yeah, there'd probably be some kind of civil unrest, much like there was in the 60s and stuff, but it was dealt with. Okay. And it was dealing with something totally different. But I think like you, like me, we all kind of feel like this drama has been going on too long. Even though I can accept the fact that the universe does everything perfectly in its own time. From the standpoint of having watched this entire drama unfold, it's like, I'm beyond the point of enough is enough. Okay, I think probably you are too. So again, the indications are there for the potential of some kind of incarceration or being taken out of the flow of normal life. All right. We'll just have to wait and see and hope that they decide to do what is right. Okay. Not err too much on the side of caution, but really begin to put an end to this craziness that's going on, Donald Trump. With Donald Trump gone, we can see even right now the MAGA movement's not very impressive. When you can get Marjorie Taylor Greene to shut up this long, okay, it's not terribly, it's impressive really, But we know that some of the steam, okay, when the steam is knocked out of Donald Trump, the other people that are behind him tend to get very quiet, you know. I suspect that in the midst of all this too, that something, you know, can be said for what Kamala Harris is trying to do. She is trying to make him look as small as he is. Okay. She, okay, may or could have some impact on this sentencing with Donald Trump. Okay. I'm sure that they think about that, about do we end this before the election or do we go ahead and you know, just drag it out and let the public decide, which would seem to be the way they've been playing this game all along. But again, it's gotten well over, you know, being tedious at this point. Okay, I hope that this helps you to understand a little bit about what could happen, and that it isn't as simple as a jail sentence. It could be something else down the road for him, and we can hope that something will happen, and that when it does happen, that there'll be probably a great sigh of relief across America. The big question, though, beyond all of this, though, that I've asked over in the community section is, do you think that America has really learned its lesson? All along since I began doing these charts, you know, and doing these videos, the thing that more than anything concerned me was, what is the degree and the depth of the universe? How far are they going to go to bring about the transformation and change that we know is happening, but is not really being forced upon us? Okay, that's difficult to determine. Right, but we know, because of the fact of the amount of fear that's been generated over the past 4 to 6 years, that the worst could happen. All right, hopefully it won't, but it could. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, share it on the internet, and I would love to see you comment in the community section, share your opinion. Okay, I will say one thing, all right, that I've noticed here recently, as a result probably of the videos and some of my comments. I've had more than your normal amount, or what I would consider a normal amount of trolls posting comments about the comments, I guess, that I'm making about the charts. I've said this many times before. I'll say it again. Okay, if your intent is to troll the videos or to troll the channel, you can forget it. Okay, your comments will never get anywhere. All right, I won't put them out there. This particular channel is about trying to assist in the process of people keeping informed of what the universe has set in motion, and hopefully helping you to cope with and deal with, okay, and give you some hope down the road that better things are coming. I don't believe that bringing in conflict and anybody can have their opinion. I don't think that that does anything but, you know, spur more conflict, and I don't want that. I don't need that. You don't need it either. Okay. Okay. Keep in mind, my partner CJ, she has 2 Substack newsletters. One's called CJ's World. The other one is CJ's Whispers of Knowing, where she shares her channeled insights from her guidance. Okay, some very powerful insights that you can benefit from if you are on the path of your own conscious awakening. And again, I may have made a mistake by the date that I mentioned in one of my last videos. Yeah, the 24th, okay, which is about a week, a little bit more than a week from today. That's a Saturday morning, and from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'll be doing the second live stream, okay, of the Trump Talk and Awakening, recouping a lot of this stuff, talking with you about this stuff, what may have changed, what is going on, okay, and that I'll be very soon working up more information about teaching classes on astrology in January, beginning in January of 2025. I think I mentioned in the other video I did here is that it's going to amount to 2 sessions a month, an hour apiece, and at a cost of $25 per month. All right. You can join month to a month. All right. If you don't like what we're doing, if you don't get what you thought you were going to get, you can stop at that point. Or if you want to, on a month-to-month basis, be a part of those 2 class sessions, you very simply just go to the scheduler that I have and you can select that choice in there, and it'll automatically be done at that point in time. So you have freedom there to come and go, and also to commit if you want to more sessions. As I mentioned in the other video I did, this is not going to be a classroom setting on just the basics of astrology. I will talk and teach about the basics of astrology, but what I hope to do is to get more thoughtful interaction about what it's like to be an astrologer, how to handle reading charts, how to handle anxiety, how to understand other systems of astrology. I want to give you as broad a spectrum of topics to discuss, all right, so that you get a very real understanding, okay, of what it is that you feel drawn to, okay. For some, it may be that you're drawn to be a professional astrologer. For others, you just may be curious, all right. So nothing wrong with that, but my hope is to be able to bring alive to you the work of astrology, the reading of horoscopes, the understanding of how these all work together, okay, and to teach you to be patient, and loving to yourself if you're struggling, as an astrologer. All astrologers struggle. Even experienced astrologers struggle to read charts sometimes, okay? And as you probably already are aware of, it's a very, very large task doing horoscopes mentally, sometimes emotionally, and very much spiritually. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of things that can be discussed and that you can hopefully get the right answers from myself and others, because this is going to be done, in a live stream setting where everybody will be able to communicate, everybody will be able to see one another, and we will talk about astrology. Okay, hopefully it's something that will last. Okay, from the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, my girl, I want to thank you for your devotion to the work we're doing. Those of you that are members, subscribers to the channel, and those of you that donate occasionally, or those of you that donate on a month-to-month basis, we have a few of those, and it's definitely appreciated. And hopefully I will be able to tell you in a few days what my next video is going to be. Thank you for watching.